Okay, so have you ever been looking at crypto prices, maybe on CoinGecko, then you flip over to CoinMarketCap, and for the same coin, you see totally different supply numbers?
Oh, absolutely. It happens quite a bit, actually. It can be pretty confusing at first glance.
Right. And today we're diving into one specific example, Verasity, ticker VRA. Because CoinGecko lists its circulating supply at like roughly 76 billion,
Uh-huh.
but then CoinMarketCap shows around 7.6 billion. That's a massive difference, like 10 times.
It really is.
So yeah, our goal today is to try and untangle that, figure out why there's such a discrepancy and, make it make sense for you listening.
And what's interesting right off the bat is that this probably isn't just a simple mistake, like one's right and one's wrong.
Okay.
It more likely highlights how nuanced the term circulating supply actually is, how different platforms calculate it.
Ah, so it's about the method. Like
Yeah.
counting sand on a beach, you need to know how you're counting.
Exactly. Perfect analogy. So, to get this, we probably need to nail down a few key terms first.
Good idea. Let's start with total supply. What does that mean for VRA?
Total supply is, basically all the VRA tokens that have ever been created or minted, minus any tokens that have been permanently destroyed through burning.
Okay, created minus destroyed. Simple enough. Then there's max supply.
Right. Max supply is the absolute upper limit, the maximum number of VRA tokens that can ever exist. Now, for VRA, this is interesting because it used to be way higher, like 110 billion.
Row.
Yeah, but it's since been capped much lower. The hard cap is now 10 billion VRA. That's a really important piece of context here.
Definitely big shift. Okay, so we have total supply, max supply, now the big one. Circulating supply. This is where the numbers split, right?
This is exactly where CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap often differ, not just for VRA, but for other tokens too.
Wow.
CoinGecko's higher number, that's 76 billion,
Yeah.
it likely comes from a broader definition. They might be including VRA tokens that are, say, locked up in staking contracts.
Staking, like where people lock their tokens to earn rewards so they aren't actively trading them.
Precisely. Or tokens set aside for the team or for the project's ecosystem fund that might have vesting schedules. CoinGecko might count those as circulating in a wider sense.
Okay, so CoinGecko's casting a wider net, including tokens that exist but maybe aren't immediately available on the market.
That seems to be the case, yeah. Now contrast that with CoinMarketCap.
Their 7.6 billion figure is much lower, so they're stricter.
Generally, yes. CoinMarketCap typically focuses more narrowly on the tokens that are actually available to the public, the ones actively trading on exchanges.
So they'd likely exclude those staked tokens, and maybe the team or ecosystem tokens that are locked.
That's the most probable explanation for the difference. They exclude things that aren't readily available for buying and selling right now.
Which makes sense, in a way, but it also means you get these wildly different numbers depending on the definition.
Exactly. And neither is necessarily wrong. They just represent different things. One's maybe total available potential supply outside of the core treasury. The other is immediate market supply.
Now, bringing it back to VRA specifically, you mentioned staking. Is that a big factor for them?
It seems to be, yes. Verasity has fairly popular staking programs, so a significant amount of VRA could be locked up there, contributing to CoinGecko's higher number, but being excluded by CoinMarketCap.
Okay. And what about other VRA things, like token burns or vesting?
Those play a role too. Token burns reduce the total supply over time, which affects all calculations eventually. And vesting schedules means certain locked tokens will become circulating later, but CoinMarketCap probably wouldn't count them until they actually unlock.
Right, so all these mechanics, staking, burns, vesting, they make calculating a single, simple circulating supply number really quite complex.
It really does. It depends entirely on the rules you set for what counts as circulating.
So let's think about the listener. Why should you care about this difference? Does it actually matter?
I think it does. Understanding why the numbers differ helps you interpret them correctly. If you see CoinGecko's high number, you know it includes stake-locked tokens, maybe potential future supply.
Okay. And the lower CoinMarketCap number gives you a better sense of what's freely trading today.
That's likely the utility, yes. It's about understanding the context behind the number, not just taking the number itself at face value, especially with projects like VRA that have active staking and tokenomic mechanisms.
Right. So it's not about finding the one true number, but knowing what each number represents.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so let's try and summarize the main point here. The huge gap between CoinGecko's 76 billion and CoinMarketCap's 7.6 billion VRA supply.
It boils down to different definitions, different methodologies for calculating circulating supply.
Specifically around whether or not to include tokens that are steamed, locked for the team, or part of an ecosystem fund.
Exactly. CoinGecko likely includes more of those. CoinMarketCap likely excludes them.
Makes sense. Okay, so before we wrap up, maybe a final thought for people to consider.
Sure, maybe think about this. Depending on why you're looking at VRA, which supply metric is actually more relevant to you? If you're a short-term trader, maybe CoinMarketCap's immediately available supply is key.
But if you're a long-term holder, maybe CoinGecko's broader view, showing the full ecosystem's distribution, gives you a different kind of insight.
Precisely. It prompts the question. In crypto, what does available supply truly mean? It's not always as straightforward as it looks.
A good point to ponder.
Oh,
It
fun.
definitely adds another layer to doing your own research.